Hey guys, it's Steph here. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a ton of random things, just normal garden maintenance stuff this time of the year when it's 100 degrees. It's really hard to work out here. There's some stuff that's not so strenuous that I'm going to do today, and that is deadheading a bunch of my flowers that have spent blooms so I can get a second flush of blooms. Should have done this a long time ago, but I just haven't had time. And then I've got some tiger lilies that are absolutely gorgeous. In fall, I'm going to lift and divide a few more and spread them throughout the flower bed that they're in, just so I have some more of them, a bigger mass. But they are beautiful and they're flopping like crazy. So from here on out, I'm going to definitely have to stake those. I've got to do some weeding, deadhead my roses. So a lot of stuff that's actually really satisfying. First, I'm going to go highlight the tiger lilies because they're what I'm most excited about right now. All of my lilies are starting to come out, and these ones are just so beautiful. All I'm using for this is some garden stakes I got from my local country store. Got some of this garden twine. It's a nice rubbery outer edge, so it's pretty soft on these stems, from Amazon. Just wanted to show you up close what I did so you can see that twine. It was super simple, and I just wrapped it a little bit loosely. Look how much better it looks. Look at this beautiful lily. I'm so glad I bought these when I did because they're kind of hard to find in the nursery. I haven't seen them since, and I kind of snagged them at the end of the season when there was a couple left. As these mature, I'm going to lift and divide some of them in fall throughout the years. I'm going to start to let them spread throughout here as well as on the other side. I have a lot of little bare spots in the back, and they're going to be great with the black lace elderberry, but they're just really tough plants. Make sure you let the leaves turn yellow before you cut them down, so they will get a little bit more unsightly, and that's okay. You want to make sure that those bulbs are storing enough nutrients to bloom the following year. They just seem to get better with time. This flower bed is just shaping up to be one of my favorites. I just love all the combinations, the lilies with the liatris. So if you'd seen my earlier video, I bought a few of these plants and then I divided them immediately and put them in the ground, and look at them. You wouldn't even have known. They're doing incredible. They're starting to bloom, and these bloom for so long. And then we've got that Magnus, coneflower, echinacea, and some of that phlox. I cannot wait for this to fill in 3 years. It's going to be spectacular. I'll have some height in the back. In 3 years, you probably won't be able to see any of this dirt. Task number 1 complete. So I'm going to tackle this flower bed right now. I have all these new weeds. There was no weeds 2 weeks ago. They're back, so I've got to do a little weeding. But this is the Salvia cardona variety. I love this one. It's my favorite one, and I just love growing salvia because it's so tough, can take the heat, and it will bloom all summer, especially if you deadhead it. So it's already trying to get a second flush of blooms right here. So I'm just going to cut them back, and then I've got my roses. I'm going to make sure I cut off these dead buds. I don't want the energy going to form these rose hips. I don't care to have them. Just want to make sure I get as many blooms as possible and that the energy is focused on these, so the blooms are a little bit bigger and better the second time around. And in fall, they'll just go crazy again. Gotta love roses for that reason. I'm not gonna worry about going to a set of 5 leaves. I'm just gonna trim off the top of them. The almond rose is about to pop for the second time. I'm just gonna go ahead and deadhead all of these ones real quick. And then I got some roses back here, and I should be good for today. I'll probably do some weeding around the yard because I have some of that, what is that weed called that always goes crazy about this time of the year? I'm blanking out on the name, but I've got to start getting on top of that, or it'll just take over. Okay, so as I was pruning my roses, I noticed that I'm having some browning around the edges. It seems like in the center they're a little bit brown. So I might be having some sort of blight issue. So I don't know exactly if that is the case, but I think I'm going to remove these ones immediately and go get a fungicide. But our year has been a lot wetter than normal and unusually cooler, and so I think that might be the issue. Now it's hot and drying out a little bit, which roses typically like that a lot more. And so I'm going to deal with this issue ASAP. Hopefully I can get this resolved quickly. I've got to go to the garden center and buy some sort of fungicide. But other than that, these ones are looking okay. The Arnwick rose has been my best performing rose. You don't hear about it as much online, but it is so tough. It blooms more than any of my other roses, and look how healthy it looks. The roses coming out look a lot better. Maybe that one's looking a little bit on the rough side. So I'm going to clean up this lamb's ear, just cut off those flower heads, the bees. Finally, I see a lot of bees. I have not seen a ton in my cutting garden. There are some hornets in there, so I've got to be really careful because I'm quite allergic to the hornets. I might wait until the evening, actually. We'll see if I can be careful. But they are getting more water than they probably like, and so I think that's why the leaves are turning brown. We've been watering a little bit more, so I need to tone that off a little bit. Okay, so I got all of my roses deadheaded, but if you do see signs of infection, make sure you cut out any infected stems immediately, any blooms, go get something to treat it so it doesn't spread. Mine could just be drought stress. If you guys know, let me know. This is my first time ever dealing with something like this with my roses, so I've been lucky thus far. I did get the courage to deadhead the lamb's ear. It looks so much better. I did squeal one time because a hornet got real close to me. A nice little refresh haircut. It always feels so good when I do this. Man, I need to cool down. My face is super red. But before I end this video, I am going to show you how I deadhead my phlox just to get a second flush of blooms. Mine are really small, so it's not super necessary, but in the future it will be. This is just a super fun way to get those second set of blooms. So if your blooms are starting to fade, which I can't really show you very well right here, I learned this from a lady at the nursery, and it's called fluff the phlox. So you just go up here and you just fluff off the dead blooms, and that will encourage that second set of blooms. So I've already done it with some of these. I wish I had a better example, a bigger bloom, but I don't. But this will be helpful for some of you guys who have some more established phlox. I hope you guys liked joining me today in my garden, some of the maintenance, some of the relief of cutting off some dead heads and knowing that you're going to be getting a lot more blooms in the future. This is really fun. I love being out here and just doing maintenance work. It's a lot easier. I don't have to think too much, and it's not too physically intensive. So especially important when the heat sets in. Anyways, thanks for supporting my channel. I hope to see you guys in my next one. I hope you are loving your gardens this year. This has been a great gardening year for me thus far, and I will see you in the next one. I'll talk to you later.